Welcome to the PPIA Impact Podcast, where real stories meet real success. We celebrate the transformative careers of entrepreneurs within the beauty industry. I'm your host, Hassan DeMarco. Together, we'll explore the journey of barbers, cosmetologists, makeup artists, and more who have defied the odds and achieved remarkable success. Get ready to experience the profound impact of their stories. Let's ignite your passion and unleash your potential here on the PPIA Impact Podcast. We'd like to welcome everyone to our very first edition of the PPIA Impact. PPIA is an organization based out of Pennsylvania that is dedicated to supporting the beauty industry. There's many resources and many valuable things that you can attain from this organization. PPIA stands for the Pennsylvania Professional Image Alliance. And through this series of podcast episodes, you'll get to meet and learn about many different individuals, both barbers, hairstylists, makeup artists, nail technicians, and more, about their personal journey, their experience in business, and of course, it'll be insightful and impactful for all of our listeners. So we'd like to thank you for tuning in, and we want to remind you to stay connected with PPIA. PPIA's organization founder is with us today, Mrs. Ann Turner.
Hi,
we want to welcome you to the show, Ann.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Hey, listen, many people have heard that name, PPIA. They know about the organization, what it's done, all the wonderful things we're going to get into. But, we want to welcome you into our audience. And we really are looking forward to this episode just to pick your brain, learn about what started this wild trip that we're on. And really, we're just looking forward to getting to know you better. So you are our first guest on the PPI Impact Podcast. And we can't wait to just talk with you and discuss some things about you as an individual, about your business, which is named Hair du Jour. Love the name. Hair du Jour. We're going to talk to you about your product line. You have a wonderful product line. And of course, the organization, PPIA. So you guys are in for a great episode. I'm going to just give you a heads up. All right. So, Ann, please tell us a little bit about yourself. How did you get started in this journey with the beauty industry?
Yes. So I started doing hair when I was about 12. I used to do all of my relatives. So I want to start back, but I was this young lady that greased everybody's scalp.
You was that one.
I was the one that put everybody to sleep. So, after I graduated school, I decided to go into cosmetology. I was sharing with you, one of my teachers said, Ann, you can make a lot of money doing hair. I actually wanted to go into the military because I wanted to travel and see the world. But he said, you can do that in the beauty industry. So I was thankful that I had a good counselor. Initially, I wanted to be a writer. And he said, you're going to be a starving artist. So think about cosmetology because you can make a large amount if you choose to. So that's what really made me take that journey to be a cosmetologist.
Well, yeah, that was some good advice. We would have had another G.I. Jane versus, Ann and the PPIA. So I'm glad he sent you on that mission. That was great.
Thank you.
Yeah. So, we know that it's something, right? In our community, it's like a rite of passage, something that's always done. I remember seeing my great-grandmom. She lived to be 103. And, up until that 103rd year, her daughters would still be parting her head and greasing her scalp, right?
Yeah.
So that's something that it's a beautiful experience, that communal effort. And so that sparked your passion, huh?
Yes. And my aunt was into cosmetology. So she worked in a salon and she just come home with all the tip money and she would just give everybody money. I was like, I like that.
Yeah.
The fact that she always had money every day. I was like, yeah, I can see myself doing that.
Yeah, that's one thing about the industry. Yeah, you do keep money in your pocket.
Right.
Yeah, even though it's digital nowadays. But your cash app is full, right? Yeah, so that's a great start. So you mentioned you did this in high school or right after high school?
Right after I graduated high school, I went straight into cosmetology. Okay. Yeah, so I graduated from Welfare Beauty Academy. And I was really proud of myself because I was a C student, kind of like a D student sometimes, because I was a talker. So when I graduated high school, I didn't do that great. So I felt like, a lot of times kids need to know that if you find your passion, you'll excel. So when I graduated from Welfare Beauty Academy, I was valedictorian, so I was able to speak. And I was explaining my journey. I had my son, and it was hard because I had to work a lot of hours and really be a mom and still, finish I wanted to finish in the time with my teammates. Like everybody graduated and I didn't want to be lagging behind. So I would say to every young student, if you're in school and you're not doing that great, find out what you're good at and you'll excel. So I think for me, being able to speak in front of all of my classmates, I took my state boards, I passed with flying colors, but I studied. I found something that I was passionate about and I was good at. And so, you know, you can excel in anything if you find what your niche is.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I love that. That's very inspirational. You know, here you are, a young mother, right? You're just finishing school, not really feeling all that great about, you know, where you finished at. Right. But you went into school and started a career. Right. So that's great. Yeah. So how'd you start out? Where was your first shop and what was that like?
That was a funny experience. Always family and friends always recommend you to work in a salon. So one of my first experiences was not that great. I worked in a salon that was really rough around the edges, and some of the conversations was very inappropriate. And so I knew that that's not where I wanted to be after I took my state boards and became licensed. One of the things my teacher taught me was don't sell yourself short. Always know your value. And so when you have great educators, they'll tell you that this is not a hustle, it's a profession. So that was like in my brain every day. So when I was working in that environment, the conversations was really ratchet. I mean, I was like, I'm not coming back. So they was like, well, you got to come get your money. I said, listen, I learned 2 techniques. You can keep the money. I'm not coming back. So then I wound up deciding to work downtown. So I worked at JCPenney's for about 3 years. And then I was offered an opportunity to work not too far from where I lived. And some of my friends was already at the salon. So it would help me out because the money was good. And then I could still be close to my family. So that's really where I stayed at that salon for about 10 years.
Nice, yeah.
Yeah, so.
That's good. That was nice that you weren't afraid to make some changes early on. You said, that's not the direction for me. And yeah, we've seen some of those shops and yeah.
It was a lot of money. I mean, I made a lot of money in 4 days. And I was like, I can't be around.
Wait a second. Let's rewind it. Okay. So you said you left that shop after less than a week?
Yes.
Wow, that is crazy.
But I've learned 2 great techniques. So I always think education is key.
Yeah.
But I realized that it wasn't as structured. I think that's the part that when you're young, some young ladies give up because they think every salon is that way. But it's important to be in different environments. You know, I worked in 2 different shops and my mother said to me, and you don't want to be a shop hopper. So find a shop because you're going to always find that you're not going to get along with everybody, but learn how to deal with uncomfortable situations. Yeah. And so she said, you can't build your book if you keep bouncing around. And I was like, okay. So that's what made me stay in the salon for 10 years. I was like, you know what, this is my foundation and let me stay.
No, but I love that. That was good. That was good. Ann was like, not for me. Look, I'm out of here. And you told me they could keep the money. I got the 2 techniques. I got what I need.
I got what I need.
And that's all right. You took it and parlayed it into a 10-year career. Right. You know, at the next location, JCPenney's, you're downtown. Right. So I'm guessing it's a little bit more of a professional atmosphere and the clientele is a little different than maybe where you were at before. Right. But in 10 years, you had to be picking up a lot. If you learned that much,
I worked at JC for 3 years, and then I transferred over.
Oh, I gotcha. Yeah. But if you learned that much in 4 days at one shop, I can imagine at the next couple of places, you really were just a sponge, just absorbing things. Yeah.
What I loved about JC was that they taught you color. They gave advanced classes, and I said, I never want to stop learning, and so I enjoyed that. The pay wasn't that great, but I think overall, I learned a lot, and I learned how to do every texture. So any nationality I can service.
Nice. That's a great trade-off. You know, sometimes it's not always about the money.
Correct.
Yeah, you get more value in things that you learn. Correct. You know, because money comes and goes.
That's true.
It comes and goes. But when we learn and we acquire knowledge, see, it's not a perishable item. Correct. You learn things, and that's really good. I love that. So. After you finish those 2 shops, your next step is, what do you do next? So
the salon I worked at, it was a great environment. I think the ladies were really great. You know, the owner wasn't really big on trade shows and teaching. And I wanted to be a platform stylist. That's why I wanted to travel across the world. I've always wanted to travel. But then when you have a family, it's like, okay, pick. You can be good, but you're not going to be great at being a mom. You can be good at being a platform stylist, but you're not going to be great because you're not able to go everywhere. So I had to do the best of both worlds. So I had to do education and, you know, stay on top of the latest trends. But when I worked in a salon, it burnt down. So it forced me to get my own shop.
Oh, man.
So it was hard. I think sometimes when you're in business, you go through ebbs and flows. And trauma is what really makes you a stronger stylist. If you haven't been through anything, then you don't know what you're made of. So
that's
losing,
a lot, though. That's a lot to go through. You said that the shop burnt down. Wow.
So I lost everything and I had to relocate in 24 hours. So literally I was calling everybody like, do you know a shop that's open? Because I have a heavy book on Saturday and I need to get to work. Because if I don't work, I don't eat. And you know, when you have children and you have a husband, you got bills to pay. So I couldn't see me not making the money that I made on that Saturday because the shop burnt down. So the good thing is all my clients relocated. And I was able to work at that salon for a short period of time. But unfortunately, he wasn't good at paying his bills. So that's when I said, you know what? I never really wanted the responsibility of being a salon owner because family was first for me. And so when I made that decision to get my own salon, I knew the hours that I would have to put in to run my business. But then I realized I can do my hair shows now. I can do the platform work. And so I was able to have a team and I was able to do that once I opened my own salon.
Yeah, that's awesome. That is awesome. You talk about tragedy out of triumph out of tragedy. Yeah, that's interesting because you go through a shop burning down. We just talked about that. You acquired all of this knowledge. So the products and tools could be replaced. You know, if things might have got ruined, smoke, and I get that. So now you go ahead and you open up your first location. Yeah. So that must have been
it was a proud moment.
Yeah. You worked hard. You deserve that. Yeah. That's amazing. And you mentioned a little bit about education there or platform.
Yeah, so
at that time you took on some other responsibilities.
Right, I used to educate for Milani and then Deep Brilliance. So being an educator, you had to study. You had to know what those product lines entail. So for me, you know, of course, when you have a family, you got to carve out that time to study, to be educated, because I don't want to stand on stage and not know what I'm talking about and say, I'll get back to you. So reading was really fundamental when it came to the hair game. And so I was able to be on WURD every Sunday giving hair tips based on my knowledge. Yeah, for 10 years, Bishop Louise Williams was one of my customers. And I thank God for the leadership. I think every young stylist need a mentor. But you got to look at who's mentoring you. Are they mentoring you just for money, or are they really going to pour into you and build your character? So the people that I've always surrounded myself with, they seek me because I'm seeking them. And so we have to complement each other. If you have a mentor, don't take advantage of them. So even though she was a celebrity, I didn't use her for me to elevate. And so you can have a lot of people in your phone, but you don't want to use the people in your phone. And people respect that. I think that's the part that, you know, when the pandemic happened, I was able to call everybody on my phone.
That's like, you got to cash it in. I got to cash in these favors.
Yes.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, so good mentorship. Of course, you had your own passion and desire. This is great, though, because the education field and background is different. Platform artist is a whole different skill set. So for those who don't know, a platform artist in the art industry normally travels with trade shows. You can be used at trade shows on platforms. You can also be used to teach smaller classrooms, sometimes classes as big as from 20 to 100 people. And you can even go out on product demos. So a salon may hire you. So you had a chance to do all of those things.
But not heavy in detail. That's when I made that decision when I went to New York. I had to make that decision. Do I want to travel and be a platform stylist? I did things local because my family was first. And so I didn't have any regrets, but I can say I was a little sad for about a year and a half. I was like, I can't do everything I want to do. I think now I'm able to, you know, and I think those women that have families, your family is first as far as education. I don't want to have children. I used to say this all the time to women. I don't want to dress my kids up in high designer clothes and then they're uneducated. So for me, educating my children was a big deal because I need them to go further than where I am. And so I taught them entrepreneurship skills. Like my daughter knew how to go to the bank at 16 and to do all my deposits. My son knew how to, you know, go to all the barbershops and hair salons when I had a hair show. So I taught them to be thought leaders. And I think that's one thing business owners can offer their children. Yes, I want them to go to college. They both went to school, but I definitely wanted them to know yourself, know your worth, find your passion.
Yes.
You know? So,
yeah, that's great. Those are sacrifices.
yeah.
Yeah, you made sacrifices for the family, and they paid off. I'm sure. I'm sure your children love you for that, and they appreciate that.
They helped me during the pandemic. They was like, "You will not close your shop." I was like, "I was like, I'm here to close." They was like, "That's not going to happen." Yeah.
Yeah, there's so many. It's a rich culture and stylists. So many powerful, inspirational, just single parent moms or wives or whatever the case is, women who have pioneered in this industry and done so many just amazing things while being a mother, while being a wife, you know, while being a supportive partner. And that is great. You know, it makes me think of people, even in my past, a young lady that I worked for, her name was Jacqueline Thompson. She's no longer here with us, but she really inspired me, gave me an opportunity, gave me a start. And the streets of Philadelphia, as well as other places, are just littered with so many successful women who have really pioneered and made sacrifices that we all benefit from. So we thank you for that.
Thank you.
Because you didn't stop there, you know, like the sacrifices you made, it feels like they've carried forward to other things like PPIA, which we'll get into. But so many people are benefiting from the hard work. I'm sure you couldn't even tell us how many hours you put into it, you know, how many proposals you wrote or meetings that you took, you know, all of those things. But that's really just so important. And, you know, I didn't want to just gloss over that because there's people who are listening, you know.
And it's a team effort. I think anything in life, you can't do it by yourself. And I thank God for the team, you know, during the crisis we were in. I think every time I move, it's always in a crisis. It's a level of urgency. And I know I don't want to be poor. So anybody that have struggled in life, they know that they don't want to go back to that. So you will claw your way back up to the top, but you have to do it the righteous way. And I think so many times people take the shortcut. And so the long, hard way is more rewarding because I can stand and talk and be proud and not have to say, okay, I can't say that. I'm going to offend somebody if I say this, or this person is telling me what to say. So when you have that level of control in your life, it's a little bit different.
Yeah. Do it the right way so you can own it.
Yes.
Yeah, you're owning it. That's good. That's good. Yeah. All right. Well, man, we digging up gems already. We just got started.
Okay, let's
got started. All right. So how long has your salon been in operation now?
So the salon, I was actually in a small locations. So in 2005, I opened up Hair du Jour, and then I was offered the opportunity to expand 2 doors down.
Okay.
So I have been there since then. And so next year, it'll be 2025, it'll be 20 years.
20 years.
Thank God.
That is an accomplishment. Yes. 20 years. That's a long time. That's a lot of,
that's a lot
of services, a lot of customers, a lot of staff. You know, a lot. Yeah. So it's a lot that goes into that. So that's a huge
So the hardest thing
accomplishment.
is the staff. I think that your vision can be so big. Initially, I had 7 people working for me at one time. Okay. I think that being a business owner, you have to make sure that you're training your staff. Yeah. And you really have to make sure that they understand what your vision is. And what I realize is if 2 people have a vision, you can have division because your vision is different than mine. So I find that now I was taking my time after the pandemic to really train the people that is a good fit because education is really big and then customer service is huge. So if you're not offering those things in the beauty industry, it affects our reputation. So I'm really big on people being licensed. And so a lot of times people will want to work in my salon, but if you're not licensed, you're not qualified. And I think about my sacrifices, and I was young and it was a lot harder. So it's no excuse now. So I don't give people a pass. When it comes to my profession.
I like that. If y'all listening, y'all got to write some of this down. Did y'all hear that? She slipped that one in. You got 2 people got a vision. It's a division. Okay. All right. But yeah, that's good. That's good. And kudos to you for sticking to that. You know, I think that there's so many different business models and there are different visions. But if you have yours, you're passionate, you believe in it, you put the investment in, you should see it all the way through. And you've done that now for 20 years. And I think the testimony is in the amount of time that this business has stood. Yeah, so you're a staple in the community. What area of the city are you in? Where can people
West
find your
Philadelphia.
business?
Yes, I'm at 1989 North 63rd Street between Woodbine and Lancaster.
Okay, yeah, West Philadelphia, very rich community.
Yes.
I love that community. In fact, I'm very familiar. My wife is from that area,
Oh, nice.
and I also grew up in Southwest Philadelphia, which isn't too far away. So I know exactly where you're at. So that's awesome. So in talking with you, Ann, I also have come to know that you have a product line. When did you start that, and how did you find time to add something else to the plate?
Yeah, so I think for me, I'm always big on knowledge, right? So not the super smartest. So I always want to say to people, knowledge is what you desire to do. And I think sometimes we kind of skate over what our passions are. And so I was going through a challenging time. I was getting a divorce, and I really wanted to make sure that my business was secure. So I decided to go to a community college and take up Power Up Your Business. And when I went to that training, I went to a lot of other trainings prior to, but Power Up was saying to me, what do you want to do? And I always thought, okay, I want my own product line, but I don't know how to go about doing it. And so during that training, they showed me this is the beginning stages. This is what you need to do. So by the time you finish, you'll have your product. Yeah. And so I graduated, and one of my friends was in my class.
Okay.
And so he had his own juice line. And he said, Ann, we can always get a staff. We can't always create product. So don't listen to other people. I want you to sell something that's going to bring you value. And so to me, he's doing extremely well, you know. And I remember he used to come to the salon to drop off the juices, and all my clients would purchase it's called Really Road Ginger. So I have to give him a plug, because we were sitting in class and he was like, don't listen to everybody else. Create your product, Ann. And sometimes you need that push. Because I was like, I don't know, it's dominated. A lot of people are into products now, so I might not be able to make a difference. He was like, don't listen to that. You have education and you know your stuff. So 2018, that's when I created Integrity Hair Care Systems.
Wow.
Yeah. So now I've rebranded, relaunched it. I took a nap, I want to say, during the pandemic, because God said, focus on the people, focus on the industry, help save the businesses. And so a lot of people say, you're worrying about everybody else. You really need to be worrying about your product and your salon. And I said, that's not what I was called to do. So I kind of took a break off the products. I was still selling them to my clients, but I wasn't as robust.
Yes.
So now I'm focused on that, so I'll have them in 10 salons. Thank God that my team is supportive, and I'm excited. I think that the education piece is clear. So I would do hair loss training services for my clients prior to the pandemic.
Okay.
So I was introducing the product line. In my salon, we would do seminars and things of that nature. And then I would do the trade shows and, go to different conferences. But I kind of took a pause, because when you travel and you see how the ecosystem works in the manufacturing space for products, it's a lot more detailed.
Yes.
And so I say, and you can't be a stylist saying you have a product line. You have to think like a CEO and be a manufacturer of your product line. So you have to take the right classes to know about scaling, to know about the inventory, the unit costs, and those things, and the price point for the business owner as well as yourself. So I had to take it a little bit more serious and get a little deeper.
I love that. Yeah. Because that journey for you, it seems like it started with you actually going back to school. So you went to community college and took a course. Yes. I got goosebumps when you said that.
Really?
Yeah, I did. Because, so many times over the years, I'm not formally, I never went to college, right? So everything I learned was trial and error on my own. And I started very young. But now when I look back over my career, over the decades, there was times where I think that if I had just went and taken a class here or there to become more well-rounded, maybe on bookkeeping or marketing. I think sometimes when we hear college or school, you think that you got to get this degree, right? And that's not necessary. You can go take a course, and one course can be very impactful for your business or for your goal. And that's what you did. That was great. So that's how you lay the foundation for your hair care line. Yeah.
And I'm building a team. Like, I thank God that my children help me. When I don't know things, I ask for help. And I think if we learn how to do that more, because I only surround myself around smart people. And I don't mind helping everybody, but if you're lazy, you're not a good fit for me to help. And I share that with people as well. So if they see that you're determined, chances are you're going to find the right people that want to see you grow.
Yeah. Indeed. So. Yeah, the right people around you is important.
It's so important.
Very important. I think we've all had
time
those.
wasted. Like you'll be wasting time.
Yeah.
And I took a class years ago, and I want to plug Mr. Dudley because he's my mentor, and he passed away last year. But I flew out there to see him, and I had to pay thousands of dollars to be educated under Mr. Dudley.
You were educated under Mr. Dudley. Mm-hmm. Yeah. If you guys don't know Mr. Dudley, I don't know how long he was in the hair.
50 years in the beauty industry. Yeah.
Oh my goodness, 50 years.
Yes.
I remember getting out of barber school and getting started, and Dudley products was like the yellow and blue.
Yes.
Dudley, you know. And the stylists that I work with, they use their product. And it's a great product, but you know, storied history in our industry. And so you said you studied with him?
Yes, he did a book signing at my salon, and it was such an honor to see that he came to the salon. He did a book called Walk by Faith. And so Mr. Dudley really took a liking to me. And so I was able to fly there to see him a few times and get that level of education. I mean, we would read for like 6 hours. We would do, he would put videos in front of me, and I had to sit there for 8 hours. Wow. So he was like really reprogramming you in the way you think about business and really think about how are you going to help your people. You don't want to just make money and you want to make a change. And I think that's why I was able to help the businesses during the pandemic. If I didn't have that level of schooling, I wouldn't have had the mental capacity to help develop the people that were struggling.
Yeah. Oh, that's amazing, man. That's how you got, I didn't realize, you know, we've talked quite a few times. I didn't realize that, you know, your background was that rich. You just had that much experience. But it's really no surprise then. It seems like you've taken all of these experiences that you've had, you kind of packaged them all up into this moment, you know, and I can't hold back anymore. We need to talk about PPIA, right? It's what brings us here. It's the sponsor and owner of this podcast here, that the business PPIA. Here, the world changes in 2020, right? I remember vividly where I was at that time. I was in a new partnership with a new business. I had my business that I had been operating for 15 years in its space. I had a staff of like 10 employees working at the time. And one day, you know, this COVID-19 talk happens and it rocked our world. You know, everything changed overnight. And myself, as many other business owners will testify, like there's life before COVID in the business world and there's life after, right? So you had a response to that. And your response ultimately came to be the Pennsylvania Professional Image Alliance. What happened behind the scenes? How did you get started? What was the inception of this business?
So I want to go back. For me, it was working with all the businesses in the city of Philadelphia that was on 63rd Street. They were getting funding. And I looked at some of the businesses that was in the beauty profession. We were not. So I started calling some of the stylists that I knew and was like, well, did you hear about this program? Did you hear about this grant? And everybody was like, yeah, we got denied. I said, wait a minute, I got denied. You got denied. I'm listening to 10 business owners keep getting denied, but I'm listening to some of my colleagues. They have daycares, they have restaurants, they getting paid. And I was like, well, this is a little backwards. So then I started talking to some of the bigger leaders and saying, well, what's happening to the beauty and barber industry? Because if we get shut down, and we was the first to close and the last to open. So I was nervous because I said, well, how am I survive? Because if I don't work, I don't eat. And so daycares get state funding. And so I was like, okay, let me talk to the state. So let me talk to the politicians in the neighborhood. And I met Daryl. That was the first time I ever met Daryl Thomas. Okay. And then I started talking to Zena. And then I talked to Monique and Natalie and some of the leaders that I knew that was in the beauty industry that were pioneers. And we would be on the phone for like 4 or 5 hours trying to figure this thing out. And I was really passionate because my daughter was like, she would see me, she would go up and down the steps. She was like, you still on the phone? And I'm like, we're trying to survive. So
you're trying to figure it out.
We trying to figure it out. And the problem was we wasn't getting unemployment and I paid my taxes. And then when I started talking to the leaders that were the political leaders, I said, you guys knock on our door and ask us to vote. You asked us to come and leave literature. I said, we need your help. I don't understand this process, but I know you do. And I need the government to do their job because I've never been on welfare. I've worked for everything that I've earned, and I don't want to lose it based on a pandemic, and I don't know how long it's going to last. So I thank God that they heard my cry. You know, I reached out to Congressman Evans, and these are the people that I never really talked to. I reached out to the Urban League. Keith is one of my friends.
Right.
And when I tell you, I called the chamber, you name it, I called them. And they was like, okay, I think Ian is serious.
Yeah. And it's like you spearheaded this movement for all of these barbers and stylists, the personal service industry. We didn't know what to do. Like, you're right. We were the first to close down. And you're getting all of these openings and people are essential workers. And like, we don't fit the criteria for any of these things.
Yeah, we were non-essential.
Yeah, non-essential. And we felt non-essential.
Right, we did. And we did the protests at the museum. A lot of the business owners got together and we stood outside. And I've never thought that I would be a part of a protest. And then the news media came out and said, well, what's happening? And for us, it was like, this is surreal.
Yeah.
And then I would see some of the businesses contemplating on opening, knowing that people were dying. I was like, listen, I have asthma. I have a grandchild. I can't afford to open my business and she gets sick. So I had to make a business decision, like, money is not worth it. My life is more important. Yeah. My children are more important.
Yeah.
So I think some of the businesses thought about that too.
Absolutely.
And the fines that come along with it if you're endangering people.
Yeah, I saw that. There were people that made the news in our industry, stylists and barbers. They were like, hey, come find me. I'm opening these doors. I got to work because I have children to feed. Right. I have a family to take care of. And it really just became dire times for a lot of people in the industry. So, you found this organization, you come together. We're looking forward to having some other members of PPIAs here on the podcast to hear about you guys' relationship and how this has all come about. But, thank you. I think I kind of just want to pause there and just really thank you for that and the work that you did behind the scenes, because my business benefited from it. And I know that there were so many others that benefited. And PPIA, I can go on the record. Is it okay to say how much you guys were able to get in grant money?
Yes.
How much was that?
So it was $225 million the first time. Then it was an additional $20 million. Then we received about $3 million. So different times we received $10,000 a piece for small businesses. Some businesses received $50,000. We received money from the city and the state. Okay. And a lot of businesses across the country did not. So Pennsylvania beauty and barber industry received funding because we submitted a lot of proposals. Okay. And I want to share that it wasn't just me. I want to say the founders of our organization was a group of women. It was 7 of us that worked together hand in hand. And I would be remiss if I didn't have Tina, Zena, Natalie, Monique, Tila, Tanya. We were the ones that were sitting down on those meetings weekly. And so the barbers was on point too. So Darryl, Jamal, Mike, Kenny, a lot of the barbers were working directly with us as well. So the funding came about because all of us added to what we needed to say to our governor. A lot of times we don't understand the process. And even in this political space, voting matters, because we wouldn't have received funding. And so when I look at our businesses, especially Black and brown businesses, more so Black because I'm a Black woman, we get displaced because we don't know the systems and we don't know how to play in a game that we don't know the rules. And so learning the rules helped me understand, working with the mayor, how do we make sure that we get the city funded? So for me, I'm not a politician, so I don't know the policies. But once I started studying, this is what you need from me, then I'm going to figure out how to send it to you. And I'm going to demand that you give it to us because we are businesses in our community. And other nationalities are making money off of us in our community because I did a study. And I'll share this, Hassan. Some of the businesses make $1 million in our neighborhood, but won't even offer $100 to a child that's giving back to a show. And I've witnessed it over and over again. And it's a disgrace. It's a disgrace that people can come in our communities and never give back. But as a small Black business, I help pay for proms. I help pay for graduations because we matter. And our children matter. So sometimes they may not have money to get their hair done. And they say, well, Miss Ann, I'm going somewhere, can you? And so I don't do that for everyone, but I will offer if I know that there's a need and that child is rewarding of that. She deserves that.
Yeah, and I think that really speaks to who you are at your core. It feels like your core value. It's been a theme through our conversation this afternoon about your intentions. Like it's unselfish. You're looking to give back and looking to support others. And that, I think it really comes across in PPIA. I think it's taken on that life to give back and to support and help others. And the willingness for you and the team and everyone who's there, speaking as someone who's benefited, it really has been super beneficial. And, we're just really thankful for that. We want to really show our appreciation to the organization. And I think it's also important to note, too, that that was the foundation. That's where the organization started at. It was its conception, and it was the movement there at that time. We're talking about a time where a sector of business was being overlooked, and you guys put a spotlight on that sector of business. But since then, because we're now in 2024, since then, PPIA is still making its presence felt. What are you guys still doing actively?
So I'm excited because I feel like creating an organization is hard because, everybody have their own leadership roles. Everybody's their own entrepreneur. So we always have to say, you your own boss in your business.
Yes.
But for PPIA, everybody have an arm and a leg to play. So for me, finding out what you're good at, like you're great at digital, like create content creation. So I reached out to you, and I find that you have to find the leaders that are great at what they do so they can excel, so our organization can excel. So we have leaders like Wes that's doing a trade show. We have makeup artists that do teaching and education. We have locticians. We have nail techs. We have waxers. So all of these leaders are educators in their own right. So what they do is they educate the businesses that need to enhance in those areas. We have Jamal that does the male units. So we try to find the cream of the crop that's in the business profession that's great at what they do, that's going to show up and show out and not just BS, because we don't need the ratchet. And I say that to say sometimes I'll go to some of these events because I'm the president.
Speak, sisters, speak on it. Come on. Don't hold back.
Yeah, I'm the president of the organization because I love my profession. But on the flip side, the negative stuff that they would say about our profession, to a degree, is true. But when they kept saying you don't pay your taxes, I said that's not true because I bought a house, so I have to pay my taxes in order to get a property. But some of the businesses that are not doing things above board, they tend to get more light, right? So making sure that if you are unlicensed, we now have the apprenticeship program. We can help you get licensed. If you are ratchet, we can help you not to be as ratchet. Yeah. So just to say that nicely, sometimes you don't know because you don't have the right people teaching you and not judging you. My job is not to judge. My job is to enhance and develop. So even some of the seasoned businesses that think they know it all, they realize that, I need to be a part of a network that's going to enhance me. And you have to move your ego out of the way. Like most of the businesses, they make more than I do. So it's not about the money. It's really about how do we change the way we think in Philly. And, people used to always say stinking thinking. Sometimes I do get frustrated because we are at a disadvantage when it comes to our mindset. And so if we don't shift, we're going to get pushed out of the way. Right. And so you see other nationalities winning because they're unified. So when I look at some of the bar parties for the barbershops and hair salons, I can't spend my time and energy on that because that's not going to grow the next generation. So, when they started having hookah parties in the barbershops and hair salons, that's affecting your lungs. How beneficial will that be in 10 to 20 years? So it's like we got to see things all the way through. I do get upset sometimes because I can't make you see the vision. When they're trying to make us unlicensed, everybody and their mother can do hair. Now the new thing is relaxers cause cancer. Yeah. We didn't come out with that other product line that caused cancer. The Brazilian product line was very strong, and if you use it, you'll start choking. So what is that doing to your lungs? They should have not had that on the market when they saw the side effects, but they're saying that sodium hydroxide causes cancer. And you have to have real strong doctors and studies before you make those assumptions. And just like color, if you're messing with it and you're not a professional, you can get it on the scalp and it can cause a reaction. So these are the things that I say, if you're not licensed, you shouldn't be doing those services because you're supposed to base the scalp when you're doing a relaxer to protect you, right? Yes. So when you start ruining the industry, it's strategic. So you start chopping into the money. Now nobody needs to be licensed to do hair. And I think even with the lace fronts, if you're using adhesive, you can break your scalp out, your skin. So you have to have professionals to know not everybody can get everything. So for me, unlicensed people affect our industry. So the apprenticeship program is designed to help them become licensed.
Yes.
And I think the city and the state needs to do a better job with overseeing businesses that are not being in compliance.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, I love that. The part that stood out to me, and you said it in so many words, is about the professional part. The name Pennsylvania Professional Image Alliance. We don't have a professional image to a lot of people. And unfortunately, there are a lot of, for every one bad experience or person who's unprofessional, it really just does a lot of damage to who we are and what we do. I went through a period in my career where I wasn't really proud to tell people I was a barber because of some of the stereotype and connotation that comes with that. And I'm like, I'm not the typical barber. My vision of barbering may not be a vision that you're aware of. And I think it's sad to see sometimes what really is portrayed and what happens in our communities in the industry. But the PPIA, it really is going a long way and just pulling together like-minded people. Yes. Like the people you mentioned by name, all professionals, and I know them very well. Yes. These are people who are pioneers and leaders in our industry. And I think it speaks to the team that you've put together with that. And it really is going a long way and promoting some wonderful things. Grants, which are amazing money you don't have to get back. But not only that, there's a lot of other resources. You guys just had a big Apple event.
Yes.
What was that about?
So we partnered with the Apple Store because I think a lot of us have Apple iPhones, the computers, the new software, AI. So I think it's important for us to be in front of technology and not to be intimidated. Mm-hmm. So for us, taking the Apple class helped us to learn how to use the systems that the Apple offers.
Yes.
That's number one. And then we also did a website training. A lot of businesses don't have a website. In order for you to get a contract, they need to see where you are and not just on Instagram. And then we did a photo shoot to have a professional profile. So all of these things to enhance your business. We also try to make sure that we're doing a business line of credit. If you need a business line of credit or you need a credit card for your business, you have to have a certain credit score, but you have to structure your business in a way where you're using QuickBooks so you don't have to do receipts trying to give it to your accountant at the end of the year. So we work directly with an accounting firm to kind of educate the businesses on how to structure your business better. And then we also have a lawyer because you have to protect your assets. I had people that want to come in and get services, and you done did everything at the house. You done did everything down the street. And then you want to come into a professional environment and you want me to play in your hair and try to sue me if your hair breaks off. Yeah. So learning how to protect your business. Because if they see you on TV and radio, they automatically think you money bags. And I'm like, my money is not for you.
That's right.
Just protect yourself.
Yeah. Don't come for Ann. She got a lawyer, y'all. She don't play.
I got a firm.
But no, resources. Yeah. Resources. And we need that. Yeah. We need that. Our industry needs these resources. PPIA is pulling them together. You're a young entrepreneur, or you've been in business for many, many years. This is the benefit of being a part of an organization like that. You guys have monthly meetings too?
Yeah, so we do monthly meetings. Right now we're doing an accelerator. So we've been having trainings once a week. So in the month of September, October, November, we do an accelerator just to infuse everything for your business. So that way by the new year, you'll be in a better place. And so a lot of the businesses that's been a part of PPIA, their sales have increased tremendously. Number one, we focus on retail. Of course, I would love for everybody to carry integrity hair care systems, right? But then also knowing your book, like how many clients do you service a day? How many do you service a month? And what other services can you add to your business? So when you're offering waxing, when you're offering lashes, we have educators that enhance your business by educating you on the things that you can bring to your business. So we not just offer that, but we offer resources, meaning if you are having an issue with the city or the state, we have direct access to them to help you navigate through that if you're having tax issues. If you need grant funding, of course, we're not money bags, so it does take time for us to get grants. But if you're struggling in business, and some of the businesses that was almost forced to close, we were able to assist them with a grant and help them stay sustainable. Yeah. So those are the things that we do offer. And then we try to tell businesses, if you're not willing to get educated, you're not a good fit for our organization. Because a part of you being a part of our team is that you have to be willing to take the classes. You have to be willing to hop on the Zoom. You may not make all the Zoom meetings, but you definitely need to be prepared.
Yeah.
And if you are on the phone and you're not paying attention, you may not be a good fit. You may want to come back next year.
Yeah, there you go. When you're ready. When you're ready. Your time is valuable, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so trust me, guys, this is just the tip of the iceberg. The organization offers a lot, and we really can't even cover it all here on this podcast. But if people are interested in finding out how to join PPIA or getting more information, where can they go?
So they can go to the website, www.penpro.org, or they can email us at penpro2.0@gmail.com.
Okay, great. So that's where you guys can find out how to get in touch with the organization. And we also understand that you're on Instagram.
Yes.
We can keep up with you there on Instagram. You can find out they're keeping their stories, new fun events, things that are coming up. You can get to know the company through the personality and, different shops we're going to be popping up on and spotlighting. So that'll be fun. We got you guys going to be at the trade show.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I'm super excited. I always get excited about education. So Nori West, me and him have been friends for years, and I didn't know I was one of the judges. And I'll just give this quick story. Wild Styles back in the day, if anybody know anything about Philly Cuts is the bomb. But Wild Styles back in the day used to come back with all the trophies for barbers.
Yes.
So I used to love the fashion part of it, but also like the different styles that the Wild Style barbers used to do. Long story short, Nori was the person that used to win those awards.
Yep.
So now he does the trade shows across the country. And he's fully grown. So for me, supporting his trade show with PPIA, with the hem of the barbers and stylists and makeup artists and the lash techs, it's important for us to support Nori West because we'll have other people from other cities like Atlanta or New York or DC. They'll bring the stylists here. But why not support a person that was born and raised here? Why not recognize the art that he brings? And he'll bring people from all over the world to be a part of his trade show. But Philly should really come out and show love and support. And for me, I want to change the narrative because I feel like people come from New York and Jersey, but a lot of Philly barbers and stylists don't support. Yeah. And so if I can say a plug, this is a show that you should come to. Yes. Because we have free classes upstairs. Normally some of those classes are $1,000. We're going to have Crazy Hands. She teaches ponytails and lace fronts. And, she does Patti LaBelle's hair. So we'll bring the cream of the crop to this trade show for education, and it's all free. Yep. And so our organization creates funds for these opportunities. So it's November the 10th. It's from 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. And it's just a good time. It's at the Armory. This is, I think he's been doing this quite a few times. I think
this is his 11th year. Yeah. So it's his 11th year. Nori West, we can't say enough about him. I love that man to death. Yeah. He's given me some opportunities in this industry that have sent me overseas. That's how great Nori West has been. His trade show is absolutely the best trade show in the tri-state area that takes place. If you're anywhere in that radius, you need to be here. Yes. As Ann mentioned, PPIA will be upstairs at the trade show. Normally, their classes, they do come with a fee when it comes to the public, but they're doing classes for free. And the ticket price for the trade show is so reasonable. Yes. It's not even anything to think about. If you're a shop owner, I highly recommend doing what I used to do. Which is I would buy tickets for my staff, make sure your staff comes. Right. There's so many products, vendors that you can see. It's just a great show, and it's coming up really, really soon. So highly recommend that. And trust me, Nori West is another person who's closely associated with PPIA. And it just goes to show that there's so many wonderful people that are part of this organization and affiliated with it. It's definitely someone you want to be close with. So again, Ann, we can't say enough about you, the organization.
Tickets are $30. So
tickets are $30? Oh.
People need to know the cost.
That's a deal. That's a deal. That's not even a haircut. Come on.
Right.
Come on. Yeah, so that's a deal.
Yeah.
But Ann, we really want to thank you for sharing your platform, working hard, not only for your family, making sacrifices, but also making sacrifices for the beauty industry in total. We know that it wasn't done on your own. We know that you've had a great team, but we also recognize you as a pioneer and a visionary for this too. So we want to thank you for that. And we really do appreciate that. You guys know where to find her. That was PenPro, PENNPRO.org. You can find the website. You can find out about more events and things that are coming up. And moving forward, this podcast here, the PPIA Impact, will be brought to you by PPIA and none other than Ann. So now you guys know what's happening in the background of this. So again, we thank you so much. We look forward to learning and finding out more and more about you and your organization. And thank you for being our official first guest of the show.
Thank you for having me.